Sarah Silverman is the newest celebrity to go after J.K. Rowling, saying that the Harry Potter goblins, they're not goblins. No, they're actually propaganda. Now, this is after Warner Brothers has decided to reduce J.K. Rowling to a footnote in Harry Potter, basically removing her from the Harry Potter reunion, removing her mentions from Fantastic Beasts 3 advertisements. They're basically scrubbing everything. They're saying that this person, they're now unpersoned. And yeah, Hollywood, they have decided to pile on. Now, this talking point actually comes from Jon Stewart. Jon Stewart, he's going to double back. He's going to say, hey, this was just a joke between friends. But this is where it originates from.
Chapter of Harry Potter is that in? That's one of. That's when they get to Gringotts, right?
Can I tell you something about
that is
Harry
a
Potter?
Wild thing.
Here's how you know, and this is the whole thing, and you don't have to use this, but this is true. Here's how you know like Jews are still where they are. Talking to people, what I say is, have you ever seen a Harry Potter movie? And people are all like, I love the Harry Potter movies. Like, you ever see the scenes in Gringotts Bank? And they're like, I love the scenes in Gringotts Bank. He's like, do you know what those folks that run the bank are? And they're like, what? And they're like, Jews.
And then
I remember.
And then that person says, no, goblins. And then you go,
and you're like,
you hear yourself?
Let me show you this from, it's the Protocols of the Elders of Zion. I just want to show you a caricature. And they're like, oh, look at that. That's from Harry Potter. And you're like, no, that's a caricature of a Jew from an anti-Semitic piece of literature. J.K. Rowling was like, can we get these guys to run our bank? And you're like, it's a wizarding world. It's a world where it's
you
like,
can imagine anything.
The train station has a half a thing and no one can see it. And we can ride dragons and you've got a pet owl.
And who runs the bank?
Who should run the bank? Jews.
And not only that,
no, it's.
I feel like she was like, why'd you make it so subtle?
Yeah, I mean, it's real. Like, yeah, they look like Jews. But what if the teeth were sharper? And you're like, oh, okay.
I was like 11 or 12 and was like, I love Harry Potter. And I remember like being in the theater and being like, this is kind of fucked up.
That's exactly.
It might have been the first time I said the F word.
I was going to say, 11-year-old Henrik does not swear.
I was like, ooh.
That was one of those things where you expect, it reminded me of those horror movies where like everybody's been taken over by the thing, but you haven't. So you're looking around and every time someone sees you, they go, ah! It was one of those things where I saw it on the screen and I was expecting the crowd to be like, holy shit, she did not, in a wizarding world, just throw Jews in there to run the fucking underground bank. And everybody was just like, wizards.
That's crazy.
It was so weird. Even Dobby was like, that's fucked up. Those are Jews. Dobby's like, Dobby doesn't have anything against Jews.
Lord. Oh,
Dobby doesn't understand.
Yeah, Dobby Tubman, the first freed slave, right?
Dobby doesn't know
this is what gets Jay in trouble if I say Dobby Tubman leading us to freedom. Y'all ain't celebrating Elf History Month?
Elf History.
It's February.
Harry Potter and the Reichstag fire.
No.
Now, this leads to the absolute trash fire, already trying to engulf J.K. Rowling. I mean, you see it in the media, you see it in Hollywood, you see it on social media and beyond. Some people, though, they actually pull out the reference material and they say, you know what? This is actually how goblins are described. Quote, the goblin was about a head shorter than Harry. He was swarthy, clever-faced with a pointed beard, and Harry noticed very long fingers and feet. He bowed as they walked inside. I know, sounds like a monster there, right? Sounds like some kind of trope, right? But yeah, you know, that doesn't fit a narrative. So hey, J.K. Rowling. Here's Jon Stewart, though. He comes back to that topic. He says, yeah, that's not actually what I meant. So let's hear what he has to say on that.
I have to address this. This is bonkers, guys. So if you remember, like a month ago, I recorded one of the podcasts with Henrik and Jay, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
And we were bullshitting about all kinds of stuff. And we started talking about bar mitzvahs. And then Jay said something like he did a funny riff on it. Like, what chapter of Harry Potter was that? And we went off on a Harry Potter thing, right? Mm-hmm. There is no reasonable person that could have watched it and not seen it as a lighthearted conversation amongst colleagues and chums, having a larf, enjoying ourselves about Harry Potter and my experience watching it for the first time in a theater as a Jewish guy, and how some tropes are so embedded in society that they're basically invisible, even in a considered process like movie making, right?
Absolutely.
So we did that a month ago. So like 2 COVID mutations ago, back when we were still in like beta world or whatever, wherever we were. This is a month ago. This morning I wake up, it's trending on Twitter, and here's the headline from Newsweek. Jon Stewart accuses J.K. Rowling of anti-Semitism. So let me just say this, like super clearly as I can. Can I get a close-up? All right.
You're in control of your own camera.
Bring your face in.
I'm in control of my close-ups. All right, let me do this.
Camera 1.
Hello, my name is Jon Stewart. I do not think J.K. Rowling is anti-Semitic. I did not accuse her of being anti-Semitic. I do not think that the Harry Potter movies are anti-Semitic. I really love the Harry Potter movies, probably too much for a gentleman of my considerable age. So I would just like to say that none of that is true, and not a reasonable person could not have looked at that conversation and not found it lighthearted. So let me say this instead to Newsweek. Your business model is fucking arson. And not the good kind of arson where they light stuff and control it to prevent forest fires in the future. The kind of arson where you're on the mountain and you've got fucking 5 minutes and you don't know where the dogs are. Like, that's your business model. And now all the shitheads pile into this ridiculously out of context nonsense that you put out there. And let me tell you something, Newsweek, you used to mean something. You know what I mean? You were my go-to at the airport when the kiosk was out of Time magazine. Boom! Roasted. Weekly magazine roasted.
Yeah.
Not a Hudson News.
So again, I cannot stress this enough. I'm not accusing J.K. Rowling of being anti-Semitic. She need not answer to any of it. I don't want the Harry Potter movies censored in any way. It was a lighthearted conversation. Get a fucking grip. My final word is simply this: good day.
That, though, it didn't solve anything. You still have Hollywood that's trying to pile on. Like I said, Sarah Silverman's part of it. By the way, here's Sarah Silverman getting offended by manhole cover markings that are on the sidewalk, thinking that those two, they actually showcase something nefarious. I mean, look at that. You know what she's trying to say that's a symbol of. You tell me what that looks like. But yeah, more Hollywood, more media pile-ons, more social media and all. It's amazing to see somebody being canceled real time.